Once we have finished the part of psychology, we take the history of philosophy starting with medieval philosophy, who focuses in the rational study of God and the debate between faith and reason. It goes from the 5th to the 15th centuries, extending for more or less 1000 years. These are the main characteristics of Christianism, in contrast with ancient philosophy. First, God creates the world out of nothing, against the Maimonides principle that out of nowhere nothing comes out. For Greek philosophy, universe was, from the temporal point of view, eternal and infinite, without beginning or end in time. Second, God is love. The main dogma of Christianism says that God becomes a man and sacrifices for us, dying on the cross. In Aristotle's physics, God moves the world without being moved, and due to his perfection only thinks about himself. Religion in this sense has to do more with feelings than reasons. With someone you can pray. Third, time has a direction, conducting to the end of times. The origin of this oriented line is the birth of Jesus Christ. The idea that time progresses is completely unknown for Greeks. And finally, as a fourth novelty, for Christianism, all men are equal before God. This opposes in principle to Aristotle's view of slavery as something natural. Here in this slide, we can see the difference between the spiritual world and the material one, which reminds us of Plato's two worlds. On one hand, the faith, the theology, the religion, the Pope representing the eternal power, and on the other hand we have the material world, formed by reason, philosophy and science. It is also the world of temporal power, represented by the emperor, the civil society, the body, the human law, in contrast with the church, the soul, of the divine power. The revelation contained in the Holy Scriptures makes us part of the city of God and drives us to heaven in the future life. Socrates is the example of a philosophical death, while Jesus represents the religious one. What is interesting for us is the rational study of God. Faced to those who think that religion is far superior to science, only faith can save you, there were authors who tried to conciliate the religious perspective with the rational one. They thought that it is possible a good understanding between theology and philosophy, between science and reasons, because they are part of the same human totality. They complement each other. Revelation gives us something that humans cannot reach by themselves with the help of God. As examples, we can mention Saint Thomas of Aquinas in Christianism, Maimonides in Judaism, and Averroes in Islam. The basic idea for all monotheistic religions. God appears as something necessary, permanent, as eternal being. In the Exodus, God defines himself, I am who I am. In the other level of reality, creatures are the creation of God, and they are contingent beings. That is, they can be or not. They are not necessary, only possible beings. Move now into a very interesting and profound argument to prove that God exists, whose author is a monk of the 11th and 12th century named Saint Anselm. He says that everybody has the same idea about God. It is a common and objective idea. This idea shows a perfect being. It would be contradictory for a perfect being not to exist. So if you can think of God, it's because he's a real entity. possibility of God then proves its existence? Of course, some critics say that we can conceive something ideal that does not exist, but the argument is only valid for God. Saint Thomas of Aquinas constitutes in the 13th century the most perfect synthesis between religion and philosophy. He gives us these properties of God obtained only from reason. He is the first mover, the energy that moves the world, something that moves without being moved. He is also the efficient cause, creator of everything, because no one can cause himself. He is a necessary being, the permanent source of existence. Without him, everything would sink to nothing. He is a model of goodness and beauty, model of perfection, and the maximum intelligence, as we can see in the laws of nature, since the world has a design and everything has a reason. We will end this introduction to the medieval philosophy by posing two problems that are difficult for religions to solve. First is the problem of evil. If God can do everything because He's omnipotent, why does He allow bad, horrible things to happen in the world? And the other one is the problem of freedom. If God knows everything which is related to His omniscience, where is human freedom?